Hi, and thank you to Dr. Lador and Dr. Matthews for having me today. So I'm going to be talking about the curriculum redesign. These are my disclosures. I'm a speaker and teacher for Core and Intuitive, neither of which are relevant to my talk today. So the traditional fellowship council curriculum, for accreditation and all of that has consisted of case logs as well as a list of topics relative to each fellowship. This essentially requires program directors to present their program's fellowship curriculum at the time of reaccreditation, and that can obviously look different for every program. And the topics that need to be covered are universal across all programs, depending on the fellowship designation, regardless of the number of fellows they have, the faculty. So the concern over the years has been that program directors have to cover a whole range of topics for their fellows that maybe they don't have expertise about, maybe they don't have access to specific resources or curriculum, and there's obviously a huge time component as well, and the idea that the curriculum needs to be more dynamic. So if you create a particular curriculum, staying up to date with that as a program director can be quite a challenge. So the goals of the curriculum redesign were really to leverage the collective intelligence of all program directors rather than to have everyone do it independently. So the thought is offloading work from program directors, really creating more of a standardized level of training and improving overall quality of training if it's more standardized across all the fellowship designations. So the idea behind the redesign is to create a centralized resource for fellows and for program directors on high-yield topics that they will see in their fellowship specialty from high-yield experts and those who can design the curriculum in a way that's more standardized. The idea is to have a catalog of lectures and or video resources for each topic. So depending on the fellowship, the resources may look a little bit different. The idea is not to just have everything be in written form, but obviously webinars, videos, those resources are more dynamic and easier to digest as well. The curriculum will be accessible to fellows, program directors, and faculty who are involved in the program. These are the list of fellowships: complex GI, advanced GI MIS, flexible endoscopy, colorectal, bariatric foregut hernia, hepatobiliary, and thoracic. So these are the goals to have curriculum specifically designed for each of these topics. Now, we've had a lot of discussions because obviously there's going to be overlapping curriculum for these, and so that's kind of where we are to determine what are the core topics for each of these fellowship designations, where will there be overlap, and trying to make sure there's not too much redundancy. So I'm just going to go through some of the sample resources that the committee, we've kind of started pulling together resources. So for example, recently we discussed having the SAGES video library available as part of the curriculum. So taking lectures from prior meetings and incorporating those into the specific curriculum topics to make it relevant. For hernia specifically, Dr. Greenberg and I have been working on the hernia curriculum redesign. We have the American Hernia Society video library. Now, fellows have to be a member of the AHS to access this, but all the list of the topics and the videos will be available on the website, so the fellows will know what videos they can access. Also through the Abdominal Core Health Quality Collaborative, there have been a series of webinars as well, which have been very relevant and to different topics in hernia. So this is just an example. So through the American Hernia Society, we created a list of the different videos and topics and divided that based on inguinal hernia, atypical and hiatal hernias, and then ventral hernias. So essentially, on the hernia curriculum portion of the curriculum redesign, all of these topics will be listed and organized so that as a fellow or program director, you can click on the relevant topics and go through it that way. The WISE library, that's what it's called on the AHS website. And again, these are all the different ventral and incisional hernia topics. So you can see quite a range of topics that cover really a lot of the high-level information in regard to hernia care. We also provided some resources through the ACHQC. The QC Core Insights was a series of webinars that the ACHQC had over about a 2-year period. It's about a 10 to 15-minute presentation and then a great discussion. So each video is approximately 1 hour, and it really highlights the most relevant topics that have been discussed in hernia care. Again, we divided it based on inguinal hernia, ventral incisional, and then additional topics, things that are very relevant: prophylactic mesh placement, core rehabilitation. So again, all of these will be organized and the topics will be available, and these are going to be directly accessible through the website. So what will this look like? Obviously, you've seen pictures of the website, but essentially you would need to have a login in order to access this. You would go under the applicants and fellows section under fellowship information, and there will be curricula. If you click on it now, this is what it looks like. So you see each of the designations, and then you can see at the bottom it says that curricula are being developed for thoracic and colorectal, so that's going to be added as well. Right now, if you click on one of these topics, for example, if you click on bariatric, you'll see a Word document or a PDF document, essentially listing now as a program director all the things that you need to provide your fellow for your curriculum. The idea behind the redesign is that when you click on that, then you will have a series of resources that will be well organized, and it will not be in this PDF form. There'll be videos and different topics relevant to that. So what is the timeline for that? The committee's been working hard to get at least some of the content available, starting with next year's fellows class, so in August of 2024. Once everything is populated, the idea is to keep it dynamic, so updating it on a regular basis with the more relevant topics, planning to review it every few years to ensure the topics and the lectures and videos are still relevant, because we know our field evolves quickly. The goal is to have it available on the Fellowship Council website to anyone who has an account or can log in, so fellows, faculty, and program directors. So again, the timeline is planning for August 2024, and a lot of that will just depend on which content we're able to populate, and just stay tuned. We'll make sure to disseminate that information when we have it.